Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a meeting feeling confident in your work and walked out the meeting, questioned everything about yourself? Nothing exploded. No one raised their voice, but something shifted. Maybe it was a pause. Maybe it was a sideway question. Maybe it was a challenge that didn't feel curious. It felt calculated. See, that's how hostile environments work. They don't attack your competency. They erode your confidence. I remember when I walked into this meeting, very, ready to go, prepared. I had done all the preparation. The plan was crystal, and I mean, so crystal clear you could see it. The decision had already been made and they're aligned ahead of time. But within the first few minutes, the energy shifted. The same questions kept coming back, not once, not twice, but 3 times in 3 different ways. A decision we had already agreed to was reopened without context. When I spoke, there was a silence. And when someone reframed my work as if it were brand new, nothing was said directly. Nothing was technically wrong, but I could feel it. That subtle pressure, that quiet tension that makes you start. Okay, I'm sorry for the heavy breathing. I'm just thinking about how you have to start second guessing yourself. Therefore, that moment I said to myself, we won't do that. No panic, no fear, no doubt. I remember thinking, did I miss something? Am I losing the room? Do I need to explain this again? And right there, that split second, I realized something really critical. This wasn't a test of my competency. It was a test of my confidence. And if I let the room define me in that moment, I wouldn't just lose the meeting. I'll start losing trust in myself. Therefore, instead of reacting, you know me, I smiled. In a brief pause, I grounded myself and I returned to what I knew was true. And I made a decision. I was not going in there to fight the room. I was going in there to protect my confidence. Everything I'm about to share, family, comes from learning how to stand steady in that exact moment when nothing looks hostile on paper, but everything feels heavy in the room. See, hostile environments don't destroy confidence through the force. They destroy it through erosion. So it isn't about being louder. It isn't about being anchored. Everything I'm about to share comes from learning how to stay ready in those exact moments. These principles form a confidence defense system you can use in real time. I like that, family. Well, let's get to work. Principle number 1, separate your identity from the room. I like that. See, in the meeting, the first threat wasn't the question. See, it was the temptation to let the room define me. See, your identity does not live in a room. It walks into it. Why is it important? The moment you let the room decide who you are, confidence becomes conditional. Experiment with these actual tips. Decide who you are before the meeting actually starts. Next one, treat reactions as feedbacks, not verdicts. Here's my professional advice, family. Strong project managers observe systems before intervening. Weak ones rush to demonstrate usefulness and lose trust early. I'm going to say something real quick here. I've been guilty of that many of times. What are you talking about, ED? Rushing in to demonstrate usefulness. So this is why I put the context of saying and talking about it's a weak move. See, it's a weak move because I'm trying to show my worth to an environment that is not even looking for my worth. They are looking for something else. What do you mean, ED? You got me confused. You said looking for something. I came here to deliver on a particular outcome for this particular project. And as project managers, we're all guilty of this because we are so competitive that we want to show whose we are and what we can do. But what ends up happening is that we start pushing people away because of the fact of that we're a little bit too aggressive with what we're trying to demonstrate. Once I stopped letting the room define me, the next challenge became obvious. If I wasn't careful, confusion could do the damage. Principle number 2, clarity is your armor. See, confusion is the fastest way to lose confidence. Okay? See, hostile environments thrive on ambiguity because it shifts the accountability as well as the control. See, clarity, it forces alignment. It prevents confidence from eroding through second guessing. See, a lot of times when people, especially project managers, their confidence starts eroding is because they start second guessing themselves. They stop trusting themselves. And see, this is important, family, because clear thinking and communication will allow you to stay calm when pressure is applied. Experiment with these actionable tips. Anchor responses to outcomes, not opinion. Next one, restate decision calmly and clearly. Here's my professional advice, family. If you can explain it cleanly, you can stand on it calmly. I like that. See, as clarity is held, I notice that pressure just doesn't disappear. It actually changes. Principle number 3, as clarity is held, I notice the pressure didn't disappear. It just actually changed. See, hostile environments often protect gaps. What does that mean? See, aggressively questioning and resistance frequently come from insecurity rather than expertise. See, recognize this prevents you from absorbing pressures that wasn't yours to actually carry. Why is this important? See, unspoken expectations create imaginary standards. You won't even have the opportunity. You don't even know where you're going. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm about to go on a rant. You just won't be able to meet. See, clarifying success gives you something really to aim for. You know, they always say, if you don't have a target, how do you know what you're aiming at? I like that. See, this reframes hostility so it doesn't turn into self-doubt. And this is something I want, especially my new project managers, because I know how it feels when you go in to lead a project and you're new. And I'm talking about new to just project management in general. Yeah, you might have been a coordinator, but now the show is yours, and it can be nervous. It can be nervous, excuse me, and it can be challenging because you don't want to fail. That is self-doubt talking, because you've done the work. So now you got to trust the work that you've done in yourself and the investments you made in yourself. Okay, that was just a little rant. I wasn't even thinking about bringing that in a message, but it's important, family. A lot of time, your confidence is lost because of the self-doubt that you bring into by questioning your own self. Okay, let's get into it. Experiment with these actionable tips. Observe behavior patterns before reacting emotionally. Next one, ask neutral, clarifying questions instead of defending. Here's my professional advice, family. Not all pushback deserves emotional weight. When I realized the pressure wasn't always about competency, a new risk showed up, that urge to prove myself. Principle number 4, stop auditioning from approval. See, approval seeking is a weakness altogether. Have I been guilty of it? Of course. You know why? Because see, the more you seek validation in a hostile environment, the more you, watch this, confidence starts leaking through you over explaining, through you trying to ensure that everyone is on the same page, which is basically over explaining. However, they're not doing what they need to do to meet you halfway to be able to understand what you are communicating. See, authority comes strictly from clarity. Being able to be clear on your messaging, being able to be clear in how you work with someone is gonna make a better environment for everyone there. Why is this important? Approval expires quickly, but credibility, oh, I like this, family, it's getting good to me, compounds over time. Experiment with these actionable tips. Replace, does this make sense? With, here's the recommendation. Next one, speak once, then pause. Did you see how I just did that there, Free? All right, here's my professional advice, family. Leaders don't audition, they decide. Ooh, that's nice. See, once I stopped auditioning for approval, the system itself became a little clearer, especially, when they started moving the goalposts. Principle number 5, don't internalize moving the goalposts. See, shifting expectations are a system problem, not a personal failure. Hostile environments often redefine success to avoid accountability, or they're trying to maintain control. Oh, I'm sorry, this almost went into my Janet Jackson, but they're trying to maintain control. See, internalizing those shifts slowly erodes trust in their own judgment. Why is this important? Separating system dysfunction from personal performance protects long-term confidence. Experiment with these actual tips. Clarify success criteria early and frequently and often. Next one, capture decisions and changes in writing. Here's my professional advice. You can't stabilize confidence in an unstable system unless you name the instability. After that meeting ended, I realized something important. Confidence doesn't even roll over, doesn't recover, in isolation. Principle number 6, the internal board of directors. Family, you've heard me talk about this many a times, and I'll slide this principle in every now and again. What is your internal board of directors? Well, I have an internal board of directors. What is your internal board of directors? See, these are the people, these are your inner circle. These are the individuals where those tough conversations, or those conversations that you need to have with no judgment, and you can get real feedback, not feedback that may be baked in with a little, distaste for you, or a little bit baked in with a little envy, a little jealousy. No, 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 no. I'm talking about a real internal board of directors. And again, these are people in your inner circle that more or less that you trust their judgment. You trust what the information that they're giving you. And it's important, family, because without this, hostile feedback becomes the loudest voice in your actual head. So experiment with these actual tips. Build a small group that can challenge you without diminishing you. Next one, use them for perspective, not for reassurance. And here's my professional advice, family. Strong leaders, they don't recover alone. But here's the part most people miss. Not everyone deserves access to your doubts. Principle number 7, controlled vulnerability. I like that, family. See, share deliberately, not defensively. Vulnerability without boundaries weakens authority in hostile environments. Controlled vulnerability builds trust while protecting your credibility. Why is this important? How and where you share determines whether vulnerability strengthens or undermines confidence. Experiment with these actual tips. Share lessons, not wounds. Family, if you didn't catch that one, I'm going to say it again. Share lessons, not wounds. What are wounds? WONDS. What are wounds? Wounds are things that, if not taken care of properly, they will not heal properly. What are lessons? Lessons are things that we can use. Watch this, family, that we can use in our everyday life. We can use when we run across a problem or a situation that is similar. I like that, family. So here's my next one. Choosing time and your audience intentionally. I chose my audience intentionally. What is my audience? Individuals that are in leadership, individuals that are looking to get better, individuals that are in a project management, program management, project coordinator. I chose my audience intentionally. Here's my professional advice. Vulnerability is a leadership skill, not an emotional release valve. Once you decide who gets access, the final responsibility becomes unavoidable ownership. Principle number 8, confidence is an internal contract. I like that internal contract. Confidence isn't granted by rule, it's maintained internally. No title, room, or reaction can sustain confidence. If you don't, confidence survives hostile environments when ownership stays internal. Why is this important? This principle puts confidence back in your control. So experiment with these actionable tips. Define your non-negotiables. Next one, regularly review evidence of your competencies. And here's my professional advice. You don't protect confidence by fighting harder. You protect it by deciding who gets access. Here's the truth, family. This episode was never about being tougher or louder or even more aggressive. It was about a protection because, see, you may come across a team, organization, department, individuals that environment has been a hostile environment. And hostile environments are not what usually breaks people in that moment. See, hostile environments, they wear them down quietly. They blur identity. They introduce confusion. They reward over-explaining, and then they move the goalposts. And then when you're isolated, they tempt you to overshare. And if you're not careful, they convince capable people to doubt themselves. That's why protecting your confidence matters. That's why you separate your identity from the room. You use clarity as armor. You stop personalizing hostility, and you refuse to audition for approval. Family, I hope this episode resonated with you. Please don't rush past it. I hope you choose one principle to practice intentionally this week. And if you know project managers who are questioning themselves right now, please send this episode to them. For those ready to build confidence, judgment, and leadership depth over time, you'll find my link to my coaching and mentorship. I would love to work with you. If you're new to the episode, I go by the name AD. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, hey, listen, that just simply means Ed. Until next time.